getting ready to head back stateside was, just it was chaos. It was just get the vehicles ready, get weapons all checked in, and get your personal effects all taken care of, and ready to send back. So there was no time to think about anything that happened, and the only thing that anyone was focused on was getting back home, which at that time was good. We needed the distraction. A lot of bad things had happened, and we needed to move past those and carry on. So by the time February came, I was on Rear D to go home with the last group. So it got down to where there were only, I think, 6 of us in a barracks, transitioning with the new group coming in. When we had hit the naval station in Kuwait, where we were going to catch our flight, we were delayed and delayed and delayed. So, call the wife, be like, "Hey, we're going to be on this plane, and see you in about 17 hours." Then it turns into, well, that plane had engine problems, so now we have, a 2-hour wait. Maybe we'll find another plane. So it was quite comical. It was a good release, because everyone made a huge joke about it, and then that was good. It was a step in the right direction. Once we got home and we actually touched boots on the ground, we were greeted at Fort Carson by almost everyone you could imagine on base. They were handing out free cheeseburgers and a Coke and handshakes and smiles and pats on the back. But at that time, that's not what any of us wanted. It didn't feel appropriate. I know that sounds a little rude, but it just really doesn't feel appropriate at that time. You've got way too much on your mind. And once we got there, they took us to the welcome center. We all got in formation, made sure everything was good. Went inside. All the families were there holding up banners, and it was quite a spectacle to see. It warmed the heart to see everybody that we fought for standing there waiting for us. It was a really good feeling. We were released at that time. I was looking for my wife. I stepped to the back of the welcome center, and she comes running up to me, and the first thing she says is, "Oh my God, I kissed another guy." And I was like, "What?" I've been gone for a year, and you kiss another guy? Apparently, his name was Blackburn. So she saw the name tag that said Black, glasses, same color hair, same color kind of build, and she didn't think twice. It just grabbed him and gave him a kiss. So I went over there, introduced myself to him, and told him no hard feelings. Every soldier needs a good welcome home. So that was something that didn't get lived down for quite a long time. But now we run into, I'm back home. I'm not in, Iraq. I'm not being shot at. I don't have to worry about being blown up. I don't have to watch my back. But that doesn't turn off. And it stayed with me. Even today, I have nightmares. I do have times where I reflect on what happened. I don't think any veteran that has been in a theater of war cannot see those images. and it's a very difficult thing to deal with. A lot of guys find a really hard time, especially my very good friend, the last two of us from the group. When we got back and started trying to deal with these issues that had popped up from Iraq, my very close friend that we bonded in Iraq, being part of that group, had a lot more difficulty with it than myself. He started drinking, started getting into drugs, and unfortunately was hospitalized in a mental institution at that time. He had a nervous breakdown. I continued my therapy as much as I could, and just continued on, got ready for the next tour. So we're now in 2008. I'm with 4th ID at this time, and we go to the National Training Center in California. There we do our entire rotation. Everything went amazing, had a great time. We had just gotten back to Tent City to gear down and get everything set up to ship back to Carson. I had everyone's bags in the back of my Humvee, and I pulled up to the tent. I took my vest off, my Kevlar. You know, after driving all day in the hot sun, wearing all that stuff, it's nice to have a nice cool breeze. So I climbed in the back of the Humvee, and I was straddling the tailgate, and I was throwing duffel bags out. I happened to slip. I hit the tailgate and fell backwards, and I hit my back on the brake reservoir on the trailer, and I fell further and hit the back of my head on the A-frame of the trailer. And then I landed on the bags. I knew right at that time I had a concussion. I've had quite a few over the years, and I'm pretty fluent in the concussion, you know, world. So I got up. I felt sick. I felt dizzy, but there was a lot of work left to do. So I continued working for about an hour and a half. We had finally finished. My sergeant had told me to go find the medic, so I went to see the medic. Told him my symptoms. Told him that I knew it was a concussion. This happened to be my 33rd concussion that I've had over my lifetime. This one felt a little bit different in a few ways. Of course, when you get hurt, sometimes you have involuntary shaking because of the pain. It's just the nerves firing back and forth. I had that through my entire body, just the shakes. We went to the medic station. They did an examination there, thought that I had broken my neck. So they immediately put me in a C-collar, put me on a papoose board, and got me to Burgers Hospital there in California on the base. They had immediately took me to the x-rays, gave me painkillers, and they did a CAT scan to see if there was any damage to my skull or my neck. What they did find was pooling at the back of my head with swelling. And they figured that it would go away, that it was just the immediate bruise that was happening. So they kept me overnight for observation, let me go to sleep after a concussion, which is a no-no. I woke up the next day, and I noticed I was still shaking. but I couldn't figure out why. And I noticed that finding the right words for a regular conversation, they would get stuck, and I couldn't get them from here, to an audible range. And I had trouble remembering certain things. At that time, they took me back to my unit. My unit said that they were immediately going to send me home to Carson for more testing. Once I got to Carson, I saw the PA. We did a whole battery of tests. And during this time, all of those symptoms popped up, and they didn't go away. So I had some long-term memory that was missing, and I had some short-term memory. So once I got back to Carson, I saw the PA, and we started a whole regimen of testing and to find out what issues I actually had. And once the swelling had gone down, once shock had gone away and everything, we could actually get into seeing what was left. What were the actual issues. This PA was absolutely wonderful, and took me through and explained everything to me in detail about what was going on, why I had memory problems, why I was angry out of nowhere, why smelling certain things would trigger reactions of violence or complete depression. And we also noticed that from my neck here down my right shoulder, the initial shakes that I had, it didn't go away. So there was more testing done. There was neural testing, and they found that due to brain damage, the neurons got crossed trying to repair themselves, and I now have a nice little tremor in my right arm, which it's actually kind of fun. The first time I tried to eat soup was kind of interesting. So the tremor used to be a lot worse than it is now. A lot of therapy has gone into it, and a lot of mental concentration to help deal with that. The other symptoms, as far as memory, I had to go through cognitive therapy for 2 years in the Warrior Transition Unit to get my speech back to where it was understandable and clear, and to where it is today. I also have extreme photosensitivity due to the injury, which if it causes migraines if I'm in too much light, and those migraines have gotten to the point where they are completely debilitating. My back, I have degenerative disc disease and degenerative bone disease on top of the injury to my sacrum from the trailer. So I have to walk with a cane or a walker now due to my left leg going out. So all of those things happening once we got back to Carson, it was very difficult to understand and comprehend everything that was going on and explain it to my wife and family, who I haven't seen in a year. So trying to deal with the recovery process and dealing with the reintegration into a family became a little too much for her, and she decided that I should move into the barracks, which I did, and I stayed in the barracks for the remainder of my time at the Warrior Transition Unit. A lot of trial and error with a lot of medications, and it took actually quite a long time, about 6 months, for them to actually accept the fact that my injuries were not fabricated, that the tremor was not, I have it, I don't, I have it, I don't, and make sure that I wasn't malingering, which I completely understand. It's a lot of those injuries coming all at once, you know, might be a sign that someone would be trying to, you know, push the system. But we found out that through all the testing that all of my injuries that I have are 100% bona fide. And it's due to the traumatic brain injury as well as the PTSD. So July 26th, 2010, I was medically retired from the Army. I could not meet retention standards despite all of the therapy that I tried to do to continue service. I came back home to Texas, moved in with my parents, and my wife and I were separated. I ended up meeting my fiance, and she's actually helped me through a lot. When I first got back, I couldn't be around people. I couldn't go out in public alone. I couldn't shop like normal people shop. So I would have to go at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to Walmart to do any shopping that I needed because almost no one's there. But if she was with me, I felt a little better. I felt like there was someone to help, you know, watch my back. And once we got an apartment together, I started noticing that the injuries that I had were becoming a very big hindrance. Bending over, dropping stuff all the time. She would come home and I'd be like, honey, I've got a job for you. And there'd be like 15, 20 things laying around the apartment that I've dropped and can't get. I've fallen quite a few times, and just dealing with the fact that your life is completely different than what it used to be is hard enough. And then seeing every single day the issues, you know, that are hitting you in the face, dropping stuff, you know, having to wake up and look at your wallet to remember your name. And there's actually a quite funny story. It was so bad when the injuries first happened that I have an electric toothbrush. I went to brush my teeth, and the battery died. So I thought to myself, well, how am I going to brush my teeth now? So I set it down and went and did some things and came back about an hour and a half later and realized it's still a damn toothbrush. You know, so just those little things that happen all the time were just frustrating, and not being able to find words to communicate with someone to get your point of view across was so aggravating to the point of almost rage.